How's it going, DC Squad, and welcome back to my channel. Why don't you take a ride with me in the Wayback Machine to one of DC Direct's earliest offerings, the classic Silver Age Batman and Robin the Boy Wonder Deluxe action figure box set. Now, anyone that's familiar with this box set, or any of the classic Silver Age box sets from this time period, will immediately be able to appreciate that these box sets actually look like they could be on the store shelves and be contemporary with the comic book readers and collectors of the Silver Age. Side of the box, back of the box, we got a picture of Batman and Robin there, and the little rooftop diorama display there. A bunch of products here on the side that I actually don't have. I don't have any of these. I do want the Joker and the Batgirl set, but I don't currently have it. We have writing on the back of the box here. I'm going to pull it up nice and close to you. And then if you'd like to pause and read it, you can. And there's also more writing up the top right here. And you can pause and read that as well if you'd like to. And here's the other side of the packaging right here with Batman. Geez, I just can't stress it enough. I love the packaging of these Silver Age and Deluxe action figure box sets from the time. It's almost a crime to open this thing up because the whole display of it just looks so nice. Now, out of the package, this Batman and Robin are incredibly colorful and vibrant. They're really pleasing to look at. Here we see from the little corner rooftop action figure stand that they come with, that these two action figures are definitely worth the purchase, at least at first glance. Each one of these figures being immediately recognizable as their classic Silver Age counterparts. And not only when you buy this action figure set do you get the Batman and Robin on the rooftop, but you also get not one, but two little batarangs. You also get this suction cup attached to a string with this here handle attached to the other end so that Batman and Robin can scale walls just like in the '66 Batman TV show and talk to random celebrities. Now let's get to each individual figure. And first up, we have the Batman. And you can really tell that they put a lot of effort into capturing all of those details that he exhibited in the comic books of the Silver Age. He's a simple enough figure, with the blue and the gray and the yellow, a very simple design, and executed simply enough, a very basic blue, a very simple yellow, but it's the finer things in this action figure that let you know that DC really cared about the product that they were releasing. For one, the face on this action figure is not only painted crisply and cleanly, but it actually looks like he did in the comic books of the days. Right down to the tiny bum chin. This looks like the Silver Age Batman. The way that you can see that the cape has been bunched over his shoulders like that, and hangs classically billowed over his back. Or how at the bottom, it just kind of billows forward a little bit just like it did in the comic books. They've gone as far as to include the shading on his trunks, and even the bat on his chest is a molded on piece. And finally, we can appreciate the fact that with this action figure, we have a Batman that actually has the body build and muscular stature of the Silver Age superheroes, having a healthy amount of muscle, but not looking like he takes steroids. The only complaint I would have about the look of this figure, honestly, is that the bat is not properly centered inside of his oval, and that's a manufacturing issue. Other than that, I think that this is a perfect looking representation of the Silver Age Batman. Now, articulation for this Batman figure is as follows. You have the neck, which just goes side to side. There is no ball joint. The shoulders are on what appears to be a peg, but you really don't want to force it. You don't want to force these old DC Direct figures too much because you don't want to snap those pegs. Because these, remember, were not ever created for children. These were for adult collectors, as throwbacks to the kind of stuff we wish we had as a kid, but these were never intended for child play. The shoulders do go up that far though, and they can go 360, although the cape would get in the way at about that point. They can go all the way around. Then you have that single jointed elbow, and that's about what it'll do. Nothing special, but basic for the day. Remember, this action figure was made at a time when action figures didn't have a whole ton of articulation, at least not standardly. You've also got the groin, and the legs on this figure can go all the way forward and not so much back because his buns get in the way. You've also got the articulation with the knee here, and you've got ankle articulation. Now, I don't want to move this ankle articulation too much on account of the fact that the ankles on these figures tend to get incredibly weak. And once they get weak, they fall over. And when they fall over, they scratch their nose. And when they scratch their nose, then you gotta buy a new one. Don't have to buy a new one. Leave their ankles alone. Wow, that just became a commercial. Now with this and many other DC Direct action figures of the time, you will notice a complete lack of articulation in the wrists, the bicep, the waist, the abs, and there's very little in the groin. They usually just went forward and backward. There's no articulation at the top of the boots and none at the top of the glove, and no ball joint at the neck and the head. That was standard pretty much for back in the day. Not always, but definitely fairly standard. Now here for comparative purposes, you can see another Batman that uses the exact same sculpt, only this Batman is modeled after an earlier Batman with a more square jaw, a solid bat with no oval, a completely different belt, and slightly different coloring. You can see the gray is a little bit lighter. And I like this Batman figure just as much as I like this one. Honestly, if you're a Batman figure collector and you're looking to make some sort of a display that will have a first appearance Batman all the way till the end with the modern Batman, you really can't pick and choose between these, because these both represent a slightly different time in that early era of Batman. And now we come to Robin, the Boy Wonder. And this action figure is executed excellently as well. And we're going to take a closer look in just a second, but I'm going to let him spin around right in front of your eyes so that you can see what you're missing if you don't own this action figure 2-pack. And you can still find these on eBay for usually a fairly reasonable price. They usually go for around anywhere from $60 to $70, which is actually quite reasonable for something of this age and rarity. This action figure of Dick Grayson, Robin the Boy Wonder, is immediately recognizable as the classic incarnation of Robin the Boy Wonder, and is absolutely the artwork that the costuming for the '66 Batman TV show Robin was based on. It seems that every single detail was captured while making this action figure. The cape that goes around his neck and drapes over his shoulders looks fabulous. You have all of the ropes that hold his tunic shut, the strings, and everything is sculpted on. Even the fine wrinkles of his tunic there going under his belt, puffing out over top of his belt. And everything just looks so perfect. You've got all the scales of his circus trunks. You've got all the wrinkling up here in the fabric of his shoulders, of his shirt. Everything just looks so well done. And you've got some muscle definition there, showing that this is an incredibly fit, acrobatic teenage boy in this Robin costume. And then you've got all the way down here that muscle definition, those big buff calves. The cape hangs nicely over his shoulders, and when we lift the little cape up, we can see that all the right details are also on the back of his tunic as well. This figure is really awesome looking. Now, seeing how Robin fares in the articulation department, it's going to be pretty much the same as Batman's. The head itself is not a ball joint, but it just goes back and forth on a peg that goes up inside the neck. The shoulders are pretty much the same as Batman's, not a whole lot of upward movement, even less than Batman's, to be honest. And then the arms can go 360 degrees all the way around. You have your single hinged elbows, and then that's it. There's no articulation at the top of the glove. There's no articulation under the shirt sleeves here. There's no articulation at the waist or in the abs. Again, which mentioned before was standard for back in the day. You do have the groin articulation, and the legs can move about that far forward and not a whole lot back. So there's not a whole lot of articulation in the groin as is expected. And then you have the knee articulation. Now you can see here that this is actually painted shut. I'm going to try and move it anyway. Oh, well, there you go. It moved quite easily. So that's about the movement that he has in the knees. And then you got the ankles. And the ankles, as you can see here, there's going to be a fair bit of articulation for this figure. I feel like mentioning the fact that this figure does not have rocker ankles is kind of a moot point, because anyone that would expect these older figures to have a rocker ankle would just be off their rocker themselves. They weren't being used commonly at this point. So just the fact that this older DC Direct Robin actually has this kind of ankle articulation is pretty darn amazing, considering a lot of DC Direct figures that came after both this Batman and Robin did not have any articulation of the ankles whatsoever. Now, for comparative purposes of size and scale, I've got the first appearance Robin action figure. Yes, I've actually swapped out the capes. I had another one of these Robins that I picked up loose on eBay a number of years back and pilfered it for parts, and I put the cape on this first appearance because the cloth cape that came on the original first appearance Robin action figure was pretty much useless and ugly and stupid, so I took it off and set it on fire and peed on it. But as you can see here, when you compare the scale of both of these Robins, this is supposed to be this Robin, only younger and smaller, and you can see that he's actually bigger than this one. Look at the size of his head compared to this one. And this Robin figure isn't even in scale with the contemporary DC Direct action figures of its day. It's just far too big. Alright, I guess I'm being a little bit too hard on him. I really do like this Robin, that's why I put the cape on him, and he's my main Robin figure in my Golden Age display. However, you really can't deny that he is a little bit too big. But this is a review about this Robin, and this Robin is perfectly in scale and looks marvelous. Oh yeah, and here's what it looks like when Batman is swinging back and forth like a madman on that bat rope that came with him, and you can see that Batman holds on pretty tight. There's honestly no fear of him falling off of this thing. It fits perfectly in his hand. Wow, I can't believe he hasn't knocked Robin over yet. Oh, there we go. So now, DC fans, it comes down to that million-dollar question: can I, should I, will I recommend this Batman and Robin Silver Age 2-pack to you as DC fans and Batman collectors? Well, if you haven't been paying attention for the duration of the video, the answer is yes. I love it. I love everything about this 2-pack. I love the look, I love the sculpt, I love the coloring, and you know what? If you're a Batman fan and a DC fan, you're gonna want to pick this one up while supplies last on eBay and Amazon, because it's only gonna go up in price and it's gonna look fabulous on your shelf or in your Batman display. Anyhow, super friends, that's my time. It's been a load of fun, but I gotta get on out of here. So thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you've enjoyed it, found it useful, helpful, or even a reasonable waste of time for the last few minutes, hey, take the time to leave a like on it, because that's gonna let me know that you've enjoyed the video. If you have anything at all to say, leave it down in the comment section below. And if you think you might want to see more of my sort of content show up in your inbox, just hit the subscribe button. Remember to ding the bell so that you never miss a video. And I'll see you in the next one. Have an awesome day, guys. Same bat time, same bat channel.